Welcome to Map Master. I am your host, Salamets Beastly. I have been forging maps since Halo 3, and I mostly create aesthetic maps for Machinima, but back in Halo Reach I made quite a bit of awesome invasion and racetrack maps, and now in Halo 4 I've been popping out some really awesome competitive maps. But anyway, here in Map Master we will be pitting 6 forgers against each other in a series of challenges and competitive matches until only one remains. The winner will be named the Map Master and will receive the prize of 20 Yetspots currency. The way this competition works is that each week the contestants will face off in a competitive match, and the winner will get to choose from 4 options what type of map they will be building. The contestants will then get 1 week to design, build, and test their maps. I will then judge the maps and decide a winner and a loser. The contestant with the worst map will then be eliminated, and the remaining contestants will move on to the next round. Now then, let's meet the contestants. Bacon Shelf, who can make some really awesome looking maps for both machinima and gameplay. Fuzzy Wraith, who says he likes to build fun minigames. Obey TW, who doesn't do a lot of forging but plays enough of Halo to get the idea of how a map should be made. Poppy's Etzbats, a newcomer to Halo but thinks he's ready for the challenge. Shining Virtue, an excellent forger although he mostly works in Reach, and the man I come to when I need help building a set piece for Machinima. And lastly, Excessive LP39, another newcomer to Halo but can still make some pretty fun maps. Because of some issues, the first competitive match only had 1 person come, and so BigTW was allowed to decide the map for the first round. He had the option of a big team battle map for 16 players, a capture the flag map for 8 players, a Dominion map for 8 players, or a played map for 12 players. BigTW ended up choosing option number 1, a big team battle map for 16 players. Okay, so the first map we're going to be looking at is Cat and Mouse by Excessive LP39. And this part right here we're looking at is red base, and I actually really liked this part of the map, mostly because it felt like a big team battle map. Like it was open, but it had some crates, some barricades and all to provide cover. It had the bases and all that, machine gun turrets. It felt like it could be a big team battle map. Reminded me a lot of like the older ones and all that from like Reach, all that people would build. Unfortunately though, like I said, this is only red team base. This wasn't the whole thing. This just one of the bases. Like red team would spawn up here in this giant fortress, and blue team would spawn down there. Red team, blue team, giant fortress, little outpost. You can see what I'm getting at, right? So red team was forged on the giant island up here, and blue team was forged on the middle island, and they were both connected through this kind of like pathway thing, which was kind of cool. I did like the idea, the concept of connecting these 2 islands together like this. It's something similar to what I did on my Hunger Games map, only not as broken up and like twisted as this one is. Mine was like a straight bridge. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh hey, Joey's Gamertide sent me a message. You should all friend request him now. Just kidding. He'd probably get pissed. But some of the things were a little wonky. Like you can see right here, these things don't line up exactly. They're a little curved. Not exactly. Like he should have used the magnets and he didn't. So this is on a weird angle instead of being like direct. And same thing with this little bridge here, not attached correctly, which could have been fixed if he had used the magnet system. But since he's a new player at Halo, I don't know if he knows about the magnet system. It actually seems like most of his curved pieces actually don't line. Actually, this one, I can't tell. I'm a bad judge at that. But this piece isn't straight. That's not 90 degrees. But That doesn't matter. That's nitpicking. One of the things with this part that I really didn't like was he put in vehicles here, but these vehicles are pointless. Because this Warthog... Actually, no. The Warthog can go all the way up. You can get the Warthog all the way to the finish line. But the Mantis is utterly useless. And I'm going to show you why. Let me generate lighting. And just kind of watch what happens with this one. Yeah, it doesn't get around this. So, it's just kind of pointless. And then down here we have more blue base. We have not more. We have blue base, which is just kind of like several outposts. We got a scorpion down here. We got tiny outposts here. We got a mantis, and we got a lot of banshees. We have 4 banshees. But like I said, the thing I didn't like was the fact that red base was so fortified and blue base was just kind of like an afterthought. Which I thought was kind of weird. I also didn't like the fact that he put he put the scorpion and 2 mantis down here, but they couldn't go anywhere other than here. Like the mongooses. So the mongoose, let me see. Yeah. Okay, so the mongooses can go through the walkway and follow down the pathway, but the scorpion and the mantises are kind of just stuck down here. And the banshees are good. The banshees come in handy, but red team doesn't have any banshees, so it's kind of off balanced. Like red team has all the fortifications, but blue team has banshees. It's kind of the balancing I think he did, which was kind of weird. So there are things I like about this map. There are things I don't like. I think one of the main things I would have liked would have been if he had just expanded on this area up here and made this the actual map instead of connecting the islands together, which, it was a good concept. I did like the concept of this with the giant bridge, but blue base definitely needed some bigger fortifications for their base. And I think he spent too much money on the actual bridge itself in order to be able to fortify this down here. Like if he had just made the straight bridge with maybe a couple barricades in it, he would have had more money to spend on there. But that's just my speculation. I can't know for sure. But yeah, this is Sets of LP's 39's map, Cat and Mouse. All right, so now we're gonna take a look at Bacon Shelf's map, Midnight Station, and this was honestly one of my favorite. Like, it was awesome. Just the way he did it, like using the actual landscape of the map. It fit perfectly, and just the overall design of this was awesome. Like, let me just pull out, and like that's his map. I also like the fact that it was kind of different, where everyone else forged on Forge Island, he went on Impact, and I thought this actually worked perfect with his style of map. Right, we got blue base over here. Both sides are it's a symmetrical map, so like both sides look the same, have the same. And then we've got like these grab lifts over here. We got the base. We got the vehicles. Vehicles were really fun on this map. It almost gave me a Vortex feel. Almost like it seems similar, but not exactly. And like over here, we've got like hallways inside, and then we got the one stairway going up, going down to the same place, and then we got like another stairway going up, and then we got down here where we got God, I can't talk. With the Warthog, and then there's a grab lift that'll shoot you up into the command structure. I don't know if that's really what it's called, but that's what I call it. Actually, no. This is the main hallway. That's right. My bad. And then they've got he even put in some
teleporters, which took you up here as well. And this is the command room. That's what I was talking about. You can drop down through there, and through the that hole there, or that one over there, and you can drop down onto the bottom floor, so you could sneak attack your enemies, or you can drop down here, which kind of gave me like a pitfall, or the pit, whichever one you prefer. Feel where you just drop down, and stop more. Those are those walkways down there, and I just thought this was really cool, really well put together. Nothing felt like glitchy or ill-placed. Like, everything lined up perfectly, and it just felt really awesome, and it was a really fun time to play. Like, this was honestly one of the best maps, I thought. Alright, so now we're looking at Fuzzy Wraith's map, the trenches. I actually really liked this design. Kind of like World War I style map with the trenches and all, which was pretty cool. Like, blue team would spawn over here in that trench, and red team would spawn over here in this trench. And I thought it was really cool. And then it had like all the destruction, like all the no man's land, where it would usually have like barbed wire and all that stuff, but instead it has like buildings and rooms and all that stuff blocking your line of sight. So it's not just like a straightforward thing. Then he had some turrets set up, and I think there were some machine gun turrets. Yep, and sniper rifles up in these. Well, not these, but that. And I think it's the same over here. Yeah, same over here. This was actually really cool. Mostly because I kind of like World War I and World War II stuff. But the only thing was, I felt like it wasn't a big team battle. It was more of a Team Slayer style map, just because it felt small. But that's like the only complaint I have, is that it felt kind of small. But still, it was really fun. I actually don't have much to say about this map other than that. I mean, it felt perfect. It felt good. Like, there wasn't much error in this. There wasn't much error. Like, maybe some things were off, but it just added to like the World War I feel. But I mean, like, yeah, there's not much to say other than it felt small. I don't know. That's all I got to say about this one. Because of some technical issues with file shares not working, I ended up counting this round as a testing round, and would consider it later in the real round one. But because some of the players couldn't upload the maps to their file share, no one is being eliminated this round. But if I had to choose a winner, it would end up having to be Bacon Shelf. His map just looked and played awesome. It was just a great design. The others weren't bad. It was just that Midnight Station ended up being better. And with that in mind, we now move on to the real competitive match for round 1. And for the first round, the competitors played Infinity Rumble on the map 0G, created by me, Silence That's Beastly. Okay, so here we are on 0G, created by me, Silence That's Beastly. And this is actually a really cool map, because it is completely... There's very little gravity on it, so here we are. We've got Obey fighting with Bacon Shelf here, down the hallways. They're just going to be shooting at each other, and down to his Bacon Shelf, so we're going to switch over. Here is... Oh no, that's Bacon Shelf. Okay, I'm sorry. Bacon Shelf just got killed, which means that Fuzzy was the first one to die. And Obey's just walking down the hallway, running around looking for some people. And again, this map is just a giant circle, so with a center. So we're gonna switch over here. Fuzzy Wraith looking for some people as well, and he's gonna go out into the open. Oh, he's shooting me. All right, we're gonna switch over. Here's Bacon Shelf, still looking for people. It's a very small map, but since there were only 3 of them playing, it was kind of hard to find someone. So here's Obey, just found Bacon Shelf, and they're gonna fight each other. And it looks like, there goes Obey, so we're going to switch over. Here's Fuzzy Wraith, still looking for people. Has pretty much no idea where anyone is, looks like. Bacon Shelf was close to him. It looks like he's seen him on the radar, and he's going to turn around and try to get him. And it looks like he takes him down, but it also looks like Obey is there trying to kill him. Throwing a grenade there. Let's see what happens. And they're fighting. Up. And down goes Obey, even though he had the attack. Fuzzy Wraith, and it looks like he's going to try to go for that. Oh, is he going for the Spartan Laser? Nah, he's going to leave the Spartan Laser alone, but he's going to be shot at from behind. And then you're taken out from Obey from in front. And now Obey and Bacon Shelf fighting. And down goes Obey. Switching over Fuzzy Wraith in the center of the map. And he looks like he missed Bacon Shelf, who was over there. Looks like Bacon Shelf's still running after him, though. Looks like there's a bit of a lag. So we're going to switch over to Obey, who's coming up on Bacon Shelf as well. And down goes Bacon Shelf, so... Oh, no, never mind, he didn't die. It looks like he died. Bacon Shelf just killed Fuzzy, so now they're going to be fighting each other. And Bacon Shelf's going to use his regen field to take back his health. And it looks like he just called in a... I don't know what weapon that was. I guess it's a battle rifle. Oh no, damage boost, my bad. And down goes Obey. And Fuzzy Wraith is jetpacking. Looks like he just found Bacon Shelf. Kind of a... Oh, and he took down Bacon Shelf. Surprising with that damage boost on. Here goes Bacon Shelf, just found Obey. Obey tried to surprise him with that hologram, but failed and died. And Bacon Shelf's going to use his regen field to get his shields back. Moving over, here's Obey running down the hallway. Dropped a hologram. Doesn't really see anyone down there. So, he's just running to Bacon Shelf. And looks like Bacon Shelf took him down. And Fuzzy Wraith running around the circle part of the hallway. Looks like Bacon Shelf and Fuzzy are Fuzzy's chasing after Bacon Shelf. Obey just taking some cover, seeing up, now he's moving again. Fuzzy Wraith still looking for people. Looks like they're all looking for each other. Probably all running in the same direction at the same speed. And Bacon Shelf has noticed Obey and he's going to start firing, but Obey is drawn forward. And he's taking some cover and throwing grenades. And it looks like, yep, Obey got taken down by Bacon Shelf. And Fuzzy Wraith is running along, still looking for people, can't find anyone. Looks like he sees someone on his radar. And he's fighting, it looks like it's Bacon Shelf again. And it looks like Fuzzy Wraith hit down Bacon Shelf. And now Obey and Fuzzy Wraith are fighting each other. Fuzzy Wraith using those barricades and terminals to his advantage and tried to jetpack over, but got taken down by Obey. And now Bacon Shelf's here trying to take down Obey, and Obey takes him down. And Obey, it looks like Obey's got his ordnance drop ready. Doesn't seem to be calling it in yet. Throwing some grenades, not sure why. And I'm going to switch over here to Fuzzy Wraith, who seems to be on top of the roof. And he grabbed the Spartan laser through the rooftop. Interesting. So now we're going to switch over here. Bacon Shelf just picked up a concussion rifle. And there's Obey, who looks like he fell from the map. And we're going to go over here, who Fuzzy Wraith and Bacon Shelf using the concussion rifle and Spartan laser. Not a very smart choice. And it looks like Fuzzy Wraith got taken down, and Bacon Shelf's going to use that regen field to get his shields back. Alright, so now we're going to switch over here to Obey. Looks like he's chasing down Bacon Shelf. Still hasn't used his ordnance drop really yet. And it looks like he missed again. Not sure how he could fail that jump, but he did. Alright, so we're going to switch over here. Fuzzy Wraith again fighting Bacon Shelf. And it looks like he took him down. And he got his shields back now, so we're going to switch over here. Here's Bacon Shelf in the center of the map, jumping on top of the terminals. And we're going to switch to Obey, fighting Fuzzy Wraith, and Fuzzy Wraith has just killed Obey. And it looks like Bacon Shelf is now fighting Fuzzy Wraith, and Fuzzy Wraith was taken down, so we're going to switch over to Obey. He's running around. I'm still not calling in his ordnance drop, which could help him. I mean, that Needler's pretty powerful. And it looks like he's going to... Oh, there he goes. He's called in his concussion rifle. Personally, I would have called in the Needler, but it's his choice. And it looks like he's going to be fighting Fuzzy Wraith. And it looks like Fuzzy Wraith has killed him and has just earned his ordnance drop. And it looks like Bacon Shelf is shooting him from behind, and yes, he is. Fuzzy Wraith is going to use the teeth, the jam doorway to take cover, and he just looks like he just took down Bacon Shelf. Yes, he did, and there is Obey. And Obey was just killed by a plasma grenade by a Fuzzy Wraith, so we're going to switch back to Fuzzy. And it doesn't look like he's really doing much, just walking around. And we're going to switch to Bacon Shelf, and we drop down right in front of Fuzzy, and it looks like they're going to fight. And surprisingly, Bacon Shelf just killed Fuzzy. I thought for sure it was going to go the other way around. And Bacon Shelf has just turned in his beam rifle and is shooting at Obey, and it looks like he just snapshotted him. And now we're going to switch over here to Fuzzy Wraith, who is called in his overshield. I guess he's trying to lure people to him. Now he's picked it up, a smart move after taking that beam rifle shot to the face. Looks like Bacon Shelf and Fuzzy Wraith are fighting each other. Bacon Shelf was just actually taken down by Fuzzy. And Obey has just joined into the fight. Looks like he's joining against Fuzzy. And it looks like Obey is taking down Fuzzy. But they still both have a long way to go to catch up to Bacon Shelf. Fuzzy Wraith is 70 points behind, and Obey is 80 points. Make that 90 points. And Obey was just taken down by Bacon Shelf. And so was Fuzzy Wraith. And Bacon Shelf has switched out his Magnum for a assault rifle. Looks like he's going to try to regenerate his shield so that he can take on Obey. And it looks like he's going to use it as cover as well, so that way he can keep his shields up. And it looks like, I think that was Fuzzy that took him out from behind. And it looks like, yep, and Fuzzy just took down Bacon Shelf as well. Man, I really can't talk. Alright, so it looks like he's shooting him through that centerpiece. And here, Bacon Shelf just wandering around, heading into the center. Right past the asteroid, and there's Fuzzy, and it looks like he's going to engage him. And there we go. It looks, oh, did he just shoot that grenade out of the air? Oh, and they all killed each other. I swear I think Bacon Shelf shot that grenade, Fuzzy's grenade out of the air and killed him. I don't know, that's what it looked like. That'd be pretty epic if it was. Alright, we switch over here. Obey fighting Fuzzy Wraith again. Looks like he needs to take some cover while he reloads, and it looks like Fuzzy's going to take cover behind that, and get killed by, was that Bacon Shelf, I guess? Yes, probably. And it looks like Obey is going to steal his light rifle and engage Bacon Shelf at a long distance. And it looks like he just killed him. Alright, so we're going to switch over here to... Oh, Fuzzy just stuck Obey. That was pretty nice. Nice throw on his part, considering Obey was moving. I suck with sticky grenades, so any sticky grenade's really good to me. And Fuzzy's going to go and switch out that shotgun and then get shot from behind and try to stick with Bacon Shelf and get taken down by Bacon Shelf. Bacon Shelf's going to regain his shields to fight Obey here. And Obey's going to use his hard light shield to deflect the bullets, keep him safe from those grenades. And it looks like he just dropped his grenade. I mean his shield, and is fighting him, Bacon Shelf. And it looks like Fuzzy Wraith came up and killed him. And then took down Bacon Shelf and just earned himself another ordnance drop. And it looks like he's called in his damage boost. Smart move on his part. Alright, so we're going to switch over to here to Bacon Shelf fighting Obey TW. And it looks like Bacon Shelf just took down Obey, and Fuzzy Wraith comes in and finishes up by killing Bacon Shelf. Alright, we're going to switch over to Obey again. Run around in circles. Looks like there's Bacon Shelf and Obey. He's sneaking up on him. Looks like Bacon Shelf's using his shield again. I guess he just took damage from Fuzzy. And Fuzzy's coming up from behind, actually, and I can't tell who actually got that kill, because it looks like they both shot at the same time, but we're going to switch over here to Fuzzy, fighting Bacon Shelf, and Fuzzy just killed Bacon Shelf, so we're going to switch back to Obey. Looks like Obey has found someone and is throwing grenades at them, and it looks like he's going to try to go for that rocket launcher that just spawned behind him. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it or not. It might be stuck in the roof. Yep, one glitch with the map, rocket launcher gets stuck in the roof. And it looks like Bacon Shelf just took down Fuzzy, so he's going to... Oh, and he's got a damage boost, so he's going to keep going. I'm going to switch here to Fuzzy. Looks like he is going for that rocket launcher again through the roof. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it this time. Looks like he's definitely determined to get it. Alright, so we're going to switch back to Bacon Shelf. and he's just kind of looking for people. Here's Obey, also looking for people. Looks like, oh, and it looks like, yep, Fuzzy Wraith got that rocket launcher. And he's going to go and try to jump back in. Looks like he made it thanks to his jetpack. Pretty smart move to have that on with him this time. And we're going to switch over here. Here's Bacon Shelf just running around looking for people. Oh, and he's running to Fuzzy, and Fuzzy's fired a rocket but missed. Fired and missed again. And it looks like Fuzzy's going to switch over to his light rifle, and he's going to start shooting. Bacon Shelf's just kind of standing there. Obey committed suicide, probably fell again. And it looks like Obey just killed him, Bacon Shelf. So we're going to switch over to Fuzzy Wraith again. Looks like he's reloading that rocket launcher. Smart move on his part because he sees Bacon Shelf in the background. Yep, and there's Bacon Shelf and and he just killed him with a rocket launcher. And there's Obey down there. Looks like Fuzzy's going to take some cover, regain his shields. Looks like he's lagging a little bit there, so we're going to switch over to Bacon Shelf, who also seems to be lagging a bit. There's Obey, just got killed, looks like by a rocket from him, by Fuzzy. And Fuzzy's going to jump out and try to shoot another rocket, and just got on a killing spree. And it looks like he's lagging a little bit. We're going to try to switch over and see if we can't get some of this lag to go away. Looks like Obey's going for that sticky det, and he's picked it up, so he's going to start running around using that. And it looks like he's found Bacon Shelf, so he's going to start firing that sticky det, but he gets taken down. And there we have it. Bacon Shelf has won with 250 points, with Fuzzy Wraith right behind him with 190 points. And the winner of the first competitive match is Bacon Shelf. And Bacon Shelf got the choice of a Capture the Flag map for 8 players, a Defend the House Flood map for 12 players, a King of the Hill map for 8 players, or a Dominion map for 8 players. And Bacon Shelf ended up choosing option number 4, a Dominion map for 8 players. And we will be back with this episode of Mapmaster right after this commercial break.
I remember it well. It was absolute chaos. It was a time of rebellion with the UNSC trying to restore peace. We started projects to try to end the war. The outcome of these projects was something unprecedented, something no one would have ever imagined. It showed us that we are not as we thought. We are human. We make mistakes.
Alright, so now we're going to be looking at SSLP39's map, which is Dual Chaos, and yeah, this was a problem he had. He seemed to have left a red spawn point in here, so sometimes people would spawn out here and have to kill themselves to go back in. It happened almost every round. It was kind of annoying, which was a major, well, not a major, but an annoying flaw in the map. Alright, so here we are. Here's SSLP's map. And again, this is a Dominion type game, so we got this floor up here, which has one of the bases right up here with 2 Tyrants guarding it. And then he's got some vehicles laying around up here. Not quite sure what the soccer ball's for, but it's there. We got a Ghost, a Wraith, a Scorpion, a Warthog, and there's 2 Mantises. And it's kind of vehicle heavy on top, but no one really used the vehicles. There was not much need for them because there wasn't much room for them to go around. Like, the Mantis could really only they couldn't travel onto the second floor because they could only travel up here. And like the Wraith and all that, the Wraith couldn't really go any further than this part of the map and this side of the map. It couldn't cross over onto the other side. Same thing, I think the Scorpion could cross over the barricades. I'm not quite sure. I didn't actually drive the Scorpion. But again, like, they could only stay on the front part of the top part of the map. Which was kind of nice, because I don't think you would want the vehicles driving through the whole map. But then we got the second floor down here. We got some energy swords on here, right there, which were pretty cool, pretty fun to play with. Always love energy swords. Can't go wrong with them. And this is the bottom part of the map, so kind of symmetrical almost. Well, not designed, but the base layout. We got one base over here. You go in here, and there's that base there. And then here's another base. This one was kind of annoying to get to just because of these grav lifts, but made it all more challenging to get to it. So, because it is just literally out in the open, so it's hard to take when you're being shot at. But it does have some defenses, and once you have it, it's got some defenses in keeping the enemy away, because you have to hit it and jump at just the right spot in order to get past the grav lifts. Otherwise, you get shot back outside. And here's the last base over here, right in this one. So again, same spot as the other one. This was a fun map, other than that spawning issue. And the only other thing where these bottom 3 bases were really close. So it was like if you control one, you control all 3 of these. So it was always like one team would control the one up top, and the other team would control the 3 on the bottom. It almost felt like. At least that's what it felt like to me when we played, because that's what it seemed like. But I mean, it was still really fun to play this. I thought it was a really good map. Maybe it could do without this center base, or maybe add another floor with this center base in it. I don't know. Actually, I don't really know. It was a fun game. I'm just nitpicking that they're a little bit too close to each other right here. That's all. Okay, and here we have Poppy's Etzbats' map, which is called Radiation. So since Poppy was like really new to forging and all that, but still wanted to be a part of the competition, but needed help, I kind of helped him with this map. So it's kind of based off of my idea, little tweaked on my original idea for this map. So the concept of this map was basically anywhere that was in the open had no gravity and had no shields for your player, because it's supposed to be that this area over here, this base, is a broken reactor leaking radiation out onto the map, hence the name. So this base and all out in the open has no shields when you're in it, as you can see here. But the minute you're out of that area, you get your shields back. And it's at a Titanfall inspired spawning. Red team would spawn in this ship and drop down into the map, and blue team would spawn over in this ship and drop down onto the map. And then it started off as as you can tell, it's kind of a U-shaped map. I kind of have more input on this one because I helped build it. So you got one base here, you got one base over in this building over here with entrances here, and through this tunnel over here, it actually leads you directly from red team spawn into the building. And then there's also another one right here from blue team spawn, but you can also get in through that way, right there. And then once you're, let me just fly through here. Once you're inside, this is Alpha base. There's also a tank spawn right there, kind of useful. This is A base. This is the armory inspired one. So you got your weapons over here. This one has a lot of weapon spawns. And then it's got a very Polish Masa feel to it right here in this hallway. Kind of took a lot of inspiration from there with him. This was a neat idea. It had all the readouts from all the bases, so anyone could be running through here and know at a glance when the enemy's team was resupplying. If you weren't paying attention to the screen, you just looked up at these and you would see that. And then it's kind of symmetrical up here. You got your bunkers, your fortifications, and then here's another base. And then down this way again, you got more fortifications, and here's the last base up here. And you can drop down through these, or if you had a jetpack, you could probably fly up into these. I don't know. No one really did that. No one really paid much attention to this base up here because it was really far away, which was a flaw that was in the map. And this is the last base again. No shields in here. Yeah, one of the major things with this map was not enough entrances. Like, the only entrances were through Alpha base and Charlie base over here and here. And in order to get to any of the other bases, you basically had to in order to get to B and D, you really had to control A and C, either A or C to get to those two. And even to get to D, you had to control B, because you couldn't get past them really, because in order to get to D, you had to come up here and turn right, whereas turning left would lead you right into B. So it was kind of like the enemy was always there. And this, I don't know why, but it just seemed, I think we screwed up. Red team spawns, literally, you could just drop out of the ship right inside this base and take it. So red team always had a base really early, whereas blue team had to drop off, run through the cave or run into the base, up a flight of stairs, and get to their base to get in and capture it. So it always seemed like red team would have A, C captured, and then they'd be already halfway either to A or to C, or to B, I mean, by the time A was starting to be taken. So it was really off balanced. So, I mean, granted, this was half my idea, but it failed in my opinion. It definitely needs to be. There's not much saving it can be done from here. I would say it has to be completely remade if it was to be playable again. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say for this one. Really off balanced. Really needs a lot more entrances too. Alright, so lastly we're going to look at Fuzzy Wraith's map, which is called Outpost 3.0, and his is on Ragnarok. So I'm going to do my best to keep my personal opinions aside, just because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but I absolutely hate Ragnarok. Just Ragnarok. I don't know. Valhalla, I loved. I love Valhalla. But Ragnarok, I don't know. It feels like they screwed something up. I don't know why, but I just don't like this map, this remade map. I think it's mostly because of playing Big Team Battle on this with all the vehicles. Like, it's too vehicle heavy, but... So I'm going to keep that opinion aside, because I'm not going to use that bias against his map, because it was actually a really fun map. Mostly because it doesn't have those crazy vehicles. It has a Mongoose, I think it has a Warthog and some Banshee. Yeah, each side has 2 Banshees and a Warthog and a Mongoose. And really none of them got used. Like, I think the Banshee was the most used when we played this. But yeah, like, most of the forging he did was a lot of the extraction pieces and a lot of the fortification pieces. So he didn't really do much forging to it, but it still felt really fun. I don't know what's with the clunkiness of these shields over here. I didn't even notice there were 3 shields on top. I just thought it was these shields over here. I guess it's cheap the grenades out, but there's one spot open, but whatever. Yeah, so there's a base over here. There's a base in the center with the most fortification. It's got the most shields. Then it's got it's got 2 turrets, a ton of fortification pieces, and then a ton of shields. And then you've got this one over here and there, and then you got one in that tower, and another one over in the other tower. Basically, just like any other game mode that ever plays on Ragnarok, everyone wanted to control this center base, this E base, because it's just like any other time you play Ragnarok. You control the center you control the center hill, you control the map, but that really wasn't the case this time, because this changed hands a lot of times. Like, it was one of those where it's like, we were always worried that once it got fortified, whoever had fortified it first was going to be the winning team. But that wasn't really the case, because this changed hands a lot of time. Even though it got fortified and it has these shields and a bunch of bunkers and turrets and all that, it's still like each team would try to take it and would end up taking it for a little bit, and then the other team would come in and grab it again. And it seemed like most people focused on this one so heavily that other players would go around and capture the other bases, and the team that controlled this one would end up with only this base. So it seemed like this was a good base to have, but it could also be a bad base to have based on how your team was playing and how you knew how to handle the map. So it was really interesting, because it was different than the normal playing on Ragnarok, because like everyone knows, if you play Ragnarok, control the center hill, control the map, win the game. Whereas this was different, because it could go either way, because this one was so heavily fortified that you could either leave it alone and go for the other bases, or you could worry about controlling the center hill and staying here while the other team captures the other bases around you without you even realizing it, because you're so focused on that one center point. I really did like this map. This was honestly a really smooth, really fun playthrough of a game type. Like, there were no problems with this map. Nothing seemed to have errors. Everything seemed to run fine, whereas, like, the other two always had problems. Like I said, Poppy's had a lot of issues with being bases too far away and having not enough entrances into the actual base itself. And Excessive LPs had the problem of having that one weird glitch with the spawn point and bases being too close together, where it was like whoever owned the one base in the bottom owned all 3. Whereas this one was different, because it was kind of like bases always changed. Bases were always changing. Well, all bases were always changing, except for Poppy's. Like, it was always like one red team always owned all the bases, whereas both the other two were always changing. But this one felt the most smooth because they had an even distance apart from all each other. After playing through and reviewing all the maps, it came down to a very tough decision between Excessive LP39's map and Fuzzy Wraith's map. Excessive LP39's map, it suffered from having a bad spawn point at the beginning and the bases being very close together at the bottom floor, whereas Fuzzy Wraith's map wasn't really all that forged together. It was more forging onto an already designed base, but in the end, I ended up naming Fuzzy Wraith's map the winner just because it played very smoothly and nothing was extremely fortified or very under-fortified. Whereas Excessive LP39's map did have those problems with spawning and bases being very close together. And Poppy's map just suffered from not enough entrances into the bases and the map just being too widespread and too linear. Even though Bacon Shelf was unable to submit a map for judging, he is safe from an elimination because he did submit a map during the testing round, and that saved him. That being said, we are left with two contestants who both failed to turn in a map, and either one of them could be eliminated because of this. But in the end, Shining Virtue decided to drop out because he does not have the time to be in the competition. And there we have it. The first contestant to be eliminated from Mapmaster is Shining Virtue. Join us again next week for the next episode of Mapmaster.